Hey, my friends, it's Rick Hagar here. I want to thank you for taking the time to jump on my live stream. As we get started here, I'd love to see where you might be coming in from. Let me know if you are watching on the live or watching on the replay. And let me know where you're coming in from, what city, what state, what province. Always like to be able to go back and say hello to you, even if I can't do it during the live stream. I know most people are going to watch this on a replay. And so if you come back and put down where you're coming in from and whether it's live or replay, I can come back and just say hello to you. I appreciate you for taking the time to jump on. And we've got an awesome topic here today. We're going to talk about, do you really need to build your contact list in network marketing? Do you really need to build your contact list in network marketing? This is a real important topic because going through our industry, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll hear people say, do I really have to make a list? Do I really have to contact people that I know? Can I just go talk to strangers? And so it's a very important topic. I want to be able to share it with you here on this live stream, and we'll analyze a few things. And if you find some value as we go through this topic, I would encourage you to like this, engage with it, do a lot of love hearts. If you have a comment or a thought that you'd like to add, drop it in the comments. We always encourage engagement in that respect. And if you feel there's value here, please do feel free to share this with anyone you think could benefit from it or get value from it. And I really would appreciate all of that. I just want to say, hey, Kimberly, appreciate you for jumping on. Hey, Beth, Patricia. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in, okay? Is it really necessary to build your contact list in direct sales or network marketing? Is it really necessary to build a contact list? Well, certainly you can get away without having to build a list. You certainly could do that. Some people can do that. But I'm going to tell you that I believe very strongly that it's critically important as a fundamental concept, as a fundamental basic, that you get into the exercise, the habit, the strategy, the process of building and developing a contact list when you start to build your network marketing business. And you want to teach people to do this, because let's think about this for a moment. What is direct sales or network marketing? What is the whole foundational concept that it was created upon? It's having a product or a service that you really truly love, and by word of mouth, it's disseminating that to other people. It's sharing that with other people. If you have a product that you love and it really provides value and benefit to you, it's natural to want to share that with other people. That's the foundation of our whole business. And then they would do the same, and so on and so forth. If it's a service that you really love and you find value from that service, you share it with other people. So I really truly believe that it is important for you to create and build and develop a contact list, starting with the people that are around you that you care about most. If you truly believe and love a product or a service, you should want the people around you to experience, or at least try to experience, the same benefit that you are experiencing. And I want you also to think big picture. I want you to think about the mass market at large, most people at large. When we talk about building a team and not using people around you and going into the cold market and advertising or building a brand, and I'm not suggesting that you don't do that. I really believe you should do that. You do have to find strategies to meet new people. But when you take a look at the average person who maybe has never built a business before, trying to get into that can be terrifying for them. Trying to go to approach strangers can be terrifying for them. And so what we need to do is just think big picture and think mass scale. A foundational principle is to begin by developing your contact list. And yes, I do want to stress, I'm not against building your brand. I'm not against you meeting new people, advertising, doing a variety of other things. That strategy is always in place of meeting new people, expanding your circles of influence. And here's a real simple phrase that I'd like to share with you. It goes like this, and you could teach this to your teams. Make a friend and meet their friends. And that's really the cyclical process that we go through. Every time that you meet someone new, whether it's through social media, whether it is just on the street, you bump into somebody, coffee shop, bank, wherever, running an ad, whatever it might be, you make a new friend, and then your objective or goal is to meet their friends, and then to meet their friends, and so on and so forth. That's how you expand your circle of influence. But for the sake of our discussion here, yes, I think it is important for you to begin the foundational principle of developing a contact list and then working with those people to replicate the same. So I'm a big proponent of it. It doesn't mean you can't do other things, but I'm a big proponent as a foundational principle of building and developing your contact list. Now, let me share with you some things that I've learned over Now, over 25 years of being involved in network marketing and direct sales, earning millions of dollars in this industry, building teams of hundreds of thousands of people, generating sales volumes globally, hundreds of millions of dollars, if not a billion or more. Let me share with you some principles that I've learned with respect to building the list, because there's some depth to this. It sounds simple, make a list and contact the people that you know and start there, but there are some things and reasons for that most people don't fully grasp. And as a result, sometimes the knee-jerk reaction is to avoid doing that and just go try to talk to strangers, especially because of social media. But there's some concepts, there's some dynamics here that I want you to grasp and understand, because it really can mean the difference between you winning in this business or losing in this business, okay? So here are a few dynamics. Let's just assume for a moment that you built a list of 30 names. Now, I know there are trainings that tell you build 100 names, build 500 names. I'm not going to get into the specifics of a number, but let's just for an example say that you build a list of 30 names. You get your notebook, you sit down, you say, okay, who do I know? You start listing family, neighbors, friends, coworkers, and you begin to compile a list, and let's say you come up with 30 names. Here's the thing. Those 30 people is a good list to start with. It's a good list to begin to work with, but there's a dynamic at play. Those 30 people, if they replicated what you just did, in other words, if those 30 people all came into a room and they sat down with a pad of paper and they each made out a list of 30 people that you didn't know, your 30 puts you in contact indirectly with an additional 900 people. That's a powerful dynamic. So through your 30 people, you have indirect access, potential access to 900 people that you maybe didn't have access to before. And I want you to think about this. Do you love your product? Do you love your service? If you do, give me some hearts and drop in the comment, yes, I love my product, I love my service. You have a great message, you have a great story in your company, right? If your story was exposed properly to those 900 people, plus your 30, so you build a list of 30, they each built a list of 30, which is now 900 more. If your product, your service, your story was properly exposed to that group of people, 900 people, do you think there's at least one person in there that would go to the top of your compensation plan, or at least halfway, or 2/3 of the way? I mean, think about that for a minute. 900 people, if they were exposed in a professional way to what it is that you are bringing to the marketplace, do you think you'd find a gem or two or three in that mix? The answer is absolutely yes. Okay, absolutely yes. And this is a dynamic that a lot of people don't fully understand. There's just a knee-jerk reaction. I don't want to make a list. I don't want to talk to people that I know. And they move on and they don't understand the depth behind this and the dynamic behind this. So if you can build a list of 30, those people easily could each build a list of 30, which gives you indirect access to 900 people. And if they were all presented with what it is that you're bringing to the market in a professional way, you probably would be able to find some superstars, absolute superstars in that mix. Now, it will never work just that way. I'm hearing some of you and reading some of you. You probably build a list of 30. Not all 30 is going to get 30. We're not going to worry about that. Some people will make a list of 30. Some people won't make a list. Some will make a list of 300. The point is the exercise. There's a dynamic, there's an exercise of you developing a list and working with your team to duplicate that, to give your message some penetration to large numbers of people that you don't have access to. And here's another dynamic that kind of plays into this, and this is very important. If you want to make a big income in this industry, a secure income in this industry, here's something to understand. The magic usually comes in depth. The magic usually comes in depth. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that if you were to build a list and sponsor a bunch of people, it's not always the people that you know, that you sponsor, that build the big businesses. It's not always those people. In fact, more often than not, the magic won't come through people that you bring in. You'll bring in someone who brings in someone who brings in someone who then finds the superstar. What I have found in 25 plus years of being a multi-million-dollar earner in network marketing is that the magic almost always comes in depth. Your strongest people are going to come through this dynamic of you finding a few who find a few who find a few, and poof, in the middle of that process happening, superstars emerge. Superstars emerge. But if you ignore the process, then what happens is you never give those dynamics a chance to begin working for you. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, in the comments drop, hell yeah, that makes sense, okay? Because that's a fact. in this industry. And unfortunately, it's not taught enough. And so people shy away from or don't place the importance on the development of their list and working through others to do that. And I recognize that there can be some challenges and issues. People have been in 5 deals, 20 deals. Nobody trusts them or believes them anymore. That's why you've got to get things as right as you can on the front end and not just jump all over the place. You want to maintain your credibility, your consistency, and your congruency. But understand the concept. We're just sharing concepts here, is that the magic is going to come in depth as you build up and develop your organization. 2, 3, 4, 5 layers away from you. In my company, I brought some people to the table in the very beginning 7 years ago that they disappeared years ago. But some of the people that they brought in that I met through them are still with me today and have become phenomenal partners in business. And so it's important to understand that there is a dynamic at play. Okay, now, so what did we do? Here's just a quick kind of a checklist going through as we finish and round this out. Okay, do I believe that it's important to build your contact list in network marketing? Absolutely. Does it mean you can't do other things? No. You should do a lot of different things, but this should be your foundational principle. That is my belief. Anyone that's telling you that you don't need to do this either doesn't have any experience in this industry, has never earned their living from this industry, or is just trying to sell you some type of a system for leads, okay? I'm not saying you don't do the systems for leads. I'm just saying that this is the foundation. Think big picture. If we're talking about people from all over, the world, the average person, the average person can have a tough time just with leads and advertising and marketing. So think big picture, okay? We've talked about the dynamics of where leaders come from, but let me just give you a quick little checklist. Hey, by the way, Ted, how's it going, brother? Scott, appreciate you for being here. Cindy, how are you? Christine, how are you? Appreciate y'all for jumping on. Okay, so here's a couple things you want to consider. Number one, build your list. Okay, build your list. Teach your team to build their list. Don't pound on people that they got to get 1,000 names. Don't pound on people that they've got to get 500 names. Remember this. There is magic in the list, but there's even more magic in the individual. I don't want you to try to force someone to come up with names and then they think they can't do it. If they get 10 names, that's great. If they get 20 names, that's great. If they get 50 names, fantastic. So build a list. Remember, there's magic in the person. If they're excited and they're enthusiastic and they believe, they're going to start talking to people. Okay? So you start putting this list together. Include everyone. Don't prejudge anyone. Don't prejudge anyone. Remember the dynamics we talked about. Don't prejudge anyone. You might think that, Sally over here, she'd never really do that well with the business, so I'm just not gonna talk to her. Hey, you don't know who Sally knows. Sally might know someone who knows someone who knows someone that brings you the superstar. I've seen it happen many times over the course of the last 25 or 26 years. So don't prejudge anyone. Maybe they will do great, maybe they won't, but the dynamic, you want these dynamics at play for you to give you the chance to find your leadership. You can't create the dynamics if you are ignoring people and prejudging. So build your list. Don't ever prejudge anyone because you don't know the dynamics, okay? And just work the process. Just work the process. It's about building and developing and staying in the process. Building a list, talking to people, inviting them to take a look. And here's the thing. If they're not ready to get involved, maybe you can ask for some referrals. Who do you know that might be good for this? I'm looking to put a team together. Just work the process. And as you're working this process, don't get emotionally hung up. Don't get emotionally attached to the yeses or the nos. Don't get emotionally hung up or attached to what people do or what they don't do. Just stay emotionally hung up to doing the best that you can do in the process. Because if you get emotionally hung up, I got a list of 10 people, and oh my goodness, my first prospect said no. My second prospect said no. If you get hung up on the outcomes, it's going to blow you right out of the business. Superstars do not get emotionally hung up. They just stay focused on and become passionate and have fun with the process. So make your list. Don't prejudge anyone and just work the process. Don't get hung up one way or the other. And here's the thing. Recognize something called timing. What I have found in 25 plus years of doing this is that it really comes down to the timing in a person's life. If you call someone and the timing is not right for them to look at an opportunity, maybe they become a customer. But I find that the ones that really take this and run with it and build something that is spectacular, usually there's a crossroads or something happening in their life. They're dissatisfied with something. Maybe it's lack of income, lack of time freedom. Maybe they're at a point in their life where they want to spend more time with their family. Maybe it's a cause that they're ready to be engaged in a cause. But usually there's a timing thing. For example, let's say you go out and try to recruit someone who is 25 years old. They just got their real estate or their insurance license yesterday. They're excited about that. It's a new career they're embarking on, and you call them and try to recruit them into your deal. Do you think you're going to get very far with that person? The odds are you probably won't, because they're so preoccupied with what they've just done with their license and they're going to start a new career that they're not going to hear you. And for you to try to twist their arm and focus on them and try to pull them in is going to be a wasted effort, and you could damage your relationship, which leads me to my next point. Remember, it's all about relationships. It's all about building relationships and friendships with people. If the timing isn't right for someone, don't try to force it. Maybe have them become a customer, build a relationship, nourish the relationship. Sooner or later, the timing will become right. I've had people that have looked at what I've done for 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and they weren't ready, but now all of a sudden they become ready. And so it's important to understand that there's a timing in people's lives. As you go through this process, when you build the list and you work with your list and other people's lists, go through the process. Don't prejudge anybody. Have fun with it. But recognize if someone doesn't come in right now, the timing may not be right in their life, but you keep nourishing that relationship so that you are there when the timing does become right. Okay, so in kind of a summary of this here, do you really have to build your list in network marketing? I believe you should. I believe that you should do it. I believe it's a foundational exercise. I believe it puts dynamics in play that can help you to become successful. Most of the people that I know that are $1 million earners in this industry, they're proponents of building and developing a list and working within circles of influence. Certainly you can do other things. Certainly. And certainly there might be circumstances that you may have to deal with. But I believe foundationally, big picture for most people, it's important. And it's something that should absolutely be done and taught in developing and building your business. So what I want to do also, just put something up on the screen here. I'd love to be able to connect with you on and off the Facebook platform. You may want to screenshot this so that you can connect with me. Obviously, I'm on Facebook here. And I also am on Instagram. If you could spend any time on Instagram, you can go to Instagram.com/Rick Hagar. I'm there. I'd love to connect with you there. I am compiling these as videos for YouTube, YouTube.com/Rick Hagar. Subscribe to my channel and make sure you get that content there. I am on LinkedIn as well, and I will drop into the comments here momentarily a link that you can exchange contact information with me if you would like to do that. I truly believe that we shouldn't be beholden to any one platform, and I would love for you to have my name, my email address, and phone, and I would love to have yours. That way our address books are full. We can be good ambassadors toward one another. And again, if anything ever happens with a social media platform, we have means and ways in which we can connect with other people. So I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on this live stream. Again, if you found value, if you have questions, engage in the comments, share it if you feel there's value. And again, just wanted to come at you here. I hope you're having an awesome day. This is Rick Hagar here in Las Vegas, signing out. Have a good one, everybody. Talk to you soon.